This video was made as a guide. It does not replace training in any way. This is if you forget something or you need a quick review. Never do this or attempt to do this unless you've been properly trained by the proper person. So welcome to the NSL here at MIT again. So what we're about to do now is develop. And what is developing, you ask? Well, if you're a little older, you'll remember the old pictures that we used to take as in photographs. You'd have to take them to the store and have them developed. It's basically the same thing here. After you expose the photoresist with whatever means, whether it's laser, UV light, whatever that may be, you need to develop it, which is basically you're just taking some liquid and either immersing your sample in it or you're doing what's called the spray develop with it, which would be taking a squeeze bottle and spraying the chemical on top that will actually remove the exposed photoresist or make the exposed photoresist stay, depending on whether it's a negative or positive resist. But for what we're doing today, we're just developing a little photoresist in 352 developer, which is a sodium hydroxide based developer. How do we do this? We start by grabbing what is called the clean room wiper. Put the name of what we're using down and then the actual name of it. We can't use abbreviations for safety reasons. We want to date the person's name that's doing it and the time, so you know how long something's been sitting there for. We take our wafer that's been coated with photoresist and actually exposed with a UV lamp with a glass mask on top of it or with a pattern. This is a 1 minute develop. So what I like to do is I'll set the timer to 1 minute and 5 seconds. Then before sticking my wafer into the developer, I'll turn the sink on because you need to rinse the wafer after developing to stop the development. I start the timer and let it count down. When it gets down right to the 1 minute, then I drop in. Kind of shake it around a little bit. And it'll do its thing. When it gets down to about 10 seconds, I come back in, hook the back side of the wafer as it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then underneath the water to rinse. And you want to rinse the wafer really, really well. What I try to do as well is I'll put the wafer down, give my tweezers a rinse, and grab it in a different spot, and then continue to rinse. So in the case of spray developing, we'd have our spray bottle of developer. It's clearly marked on the other side, 352. Hold the bottle over the sink and just start to puddle in the middle of the wafer. So just to show you guys in the camera, I'll turn it a little bit. But you want to completely cover the wafer in the puddle. And once you get it covered, I like to just kind of go back and forth and then add a little more developer. Go back and forth, add a little more developer, and so on for the whole minute. After the minute's up, it's right under the sink. Careful to rinse both sides thoroughly. And just like with the immersion develop, rinse your tweezers, a different spot, and give it another good rinse. Now what I like to do is nitrogen dry the back of the wafer. And then I'll come over to the spin dryer. And spin dry the wafer. That usually gives you the best results as far as drying the wafer goes. This will spin anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds, and while that's doing that, you can blow dry your tweezers with the nitrogen gun so you don't transfer the water back onto the sample that you just dried. This doesn't have to go for the 4 minutes. And then you can take this wafer, you can bring it over to the microscope, out to the SEM, and inspect what you've just developed after the exposure. At that point, it could go to liftoff, or it could just be a grading or something for whatever you're going to use it for. But that's basic developing here at the NSL.